Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to TTL F1 League One and the final round of this season, which takes us to the Brazilian Grand Prix, the last track on this calendar and the last race in TTL F1 League One here on this current iteration of the game. My name is Kieran McGinley, and of course it wouldn't be a TTL stream without the very, very lovely Mr. James here. James, how are you tonight?
I'm doing really well, Kieran. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. You know what? It's last race of the season vibes. We've got driver's title decided. We've got constructor's title decided. So it is just a race where everyone can let loose. Expect some of the top runners to maybe not partake in qualifying or start from the back of the grid and see if they can do a last to first challenge. It's happened before. Well, let's see if it will happen again. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Brazil is always a track which drivers find very fun. They love it around here. It's not really an issue finding a driver who likes this track. It's more of an issue of trying to find the people that don't like this track. They are very few and far between. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one, and I know you are, James, as well. Trying to figure out championship implications from third and fourth down. I mean, that's quite something.
I think I'm inclined to say that I think second and third are pretty much nailed on, because obviously the rest of the guys in behind in the driver's stand, and Chapelelli, Thomas and Dil Warren especially, aren't attending. So Recon looks set for second. He's on 110 points. Toxic in third on 88. But let's just take a moment to speak about Calsper. He's got a 92-point gap over the former champion of Recon. How consistent has he been on a scale from 1 to 10? It has to be a 9 or a 10 for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been a couple of blips on the radar for him. However, he has been in tremendous form this season. And, well, being it the last season on this current iteration of the game, it makes sense that he's going to extract everything out of the car before he has to start it all over again on the next iteration of the game. Don't forget, next week as well, mark it in your calendars, 100% Race Challenge Cup around Silverstone. Hopefully you'll join myself and James for that one, where we'll be on air for probably around about 2 hours, something like that. That will make sense. If you're wondering why there's no graphics this week, there's a very good reason why. Unfortunately, Tom is not here tonight, but we do wish him all the best. So it'll just be, you'll have to put up with myself and James. No replays tonight because we're not that advanced, myself and James. So hopefully you'll enjoy the racing anyway. One thing I will say though, James, is it's quite an interesting track, this one, Interlagos, which if you translate that from Portuguese literally translates to in between the lakes, which is kind of sums it all up really in terms of the track location, and also if it does rain, turn 3 does turn into a lake.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually. So you learn something new every day. And to give it its full name, of course, it is the Autodromo Juan Carlos Pache. It used to be known as the Autodromo de Interlagos as well. That's its other name that it's known as in Formula One. There is only the 2 DRS straights around this track. There's the one down the start-finish straight, the one down towards turn 4, where we should see plenty of overtaking opportunities. But again, this track, I think there was quite a few overtaking opportunities down the main straight in towards turn 1, through turns 2 and 3. I've seen moves done there before, trust me, especially if it's in the wet, down towards turn 4, and then even up the hill towards turn 6. And the middle sector, obviously quite technical. We are going above something like 300 metres of sea level change here tonight in Brazil. So it is going to be quite interesting. And I think, obviously, with Calsper wrapping up the championship, he could do a last to first challenge. I'd love to see that, to be honest, because it could give some of the guys that have necessarily not scored as many points this season as they would have liked to get possibly onto the podium tonight. I think it's a good opportunity for somebody to really make their name for themselves here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic chance, isn't it? It's a great chance to put yourself in that history book. And a couple of people not with us here tonight. Some for hanging out with the family. Some with flat out getting drunk. That's quite an excuse, actually, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, it is the last race of the season. There are no championships up for grabs, so it kind of makes sense that maybe some people feel like there's not much point turning up, which then opens up a chance for someone to get themselves onto the race winner board. You never know. So at the moment we've got 13 drivers, so again it's a chance to get yourself up the table if you haven't already. There's still it's not quite a race of attrition, not just yet. There's still plenty of overtaking and plenty of racing to happen in the last race in TTL F1 League One. And of course, don't forget as well, we don't have the advert to bring to you on the screen, unfortunately, but don't forget to follow the new league, TTML _F1. I believe that's the handle that we've got there. Yep. The TT Masters League, which is going to combine TTL and TMC into one big league. I mean, 5 divisions there's going to be. It's going to be absolutely insane. And from the looks of it, it looks like it's going to be a very, very packed grid, packed field as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. But of course, before that, we do have that 100% race at Silverstone next week. So put it in your diaries. Join myself and James for that whole race, 100%, 52 laps around Silverstone, and 52 laps for me to get every single corner name right. Will it happen? You're going to have to tune in to find out.
And if it doesn't, I'm here to save the day as always.
I thought you were going to put a massive bet on that, and I was going to think, what on earth is James going to make me do if I get them wrong? I think... Oh, you go ahead, James.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to cut in and say, obviously we should see tonight, talking more ahead to the shorter term, we should see Carlsberg and Recon really go at it here for the front of the grid. Don't rule out Toxic, and I've got to be honest, do not rule out LR Ghosts either. He had a very good race a couple of races ago, and I'm just having a look at his performances, a recent addition to the league. He finished 4th in Russia. That is his only race that he's ever competed in TTL F1 this season. Ghost could be a lively outsider to gain a podium here. It's on paper for him to pick up a podium. Can he do it out on track? I think this might be one of his favourite tracks as well. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see how it all goes down when we head into the race here tonight. Of course, a 50% race around the Brazilian Grand Prix gives us 36 laps of racing that await us here at the Interlagos circuit. Counting down now into qualifying with 13 drivers in the lobby here tonight. Don't forget as well, make sure you put your race predictions in there, maybe even your qualifying predictions as well. We want to know who could be on pole position for this one as well. In terms of a strategy, well, it looks like it's going to be a one-stop strategy. I can't give you exact pit windows, but I'm going to guess that I've seen soft tyres being taken quite some distance in this race, and the medium tyres do work well with an extended stint. So if it's 36 laps, I'm probably going to say between maybe laps 10 to 13 is probably when the soft window is going to open, then to put on a set of mediums to the end of the race. If you're going onto the mediums, again, I would say around lap 19 to 21, possibly maybe even later than that, because you've got to get those soft tyres to the end. Yes, it'll be a lighter fuel load, but still, the tyres do wear out towards the end of the race, so that is what you have to be careful of. The one thing you can never predict with Brazil is the weather. Now, is it going to rain? Is it going to be perfectly dry? Well, let's find out as we head into qualifying now. Any moment now we'll find out the weather. I'm on tenterhooks here. At some point it's going to reveal the weather. Oh, intermediate conditions out there, what it looks like. A little bit of light drizzle here in qualifying. And let's just confirm that with the teams. Yeah, the default setting is the intermediate tyres. So the question now is, James, is the track going to improve? Is the rain going to stop, or will it get heavier? I guess we'll find out by the amount of people leaving the pit lane now. Normally when you see intermediate conditions in qualifying, they usually last for the first 10 minutes within the session. So that'll probably take us to around the 8 or 7 minute mark within qualifying. So that's about 10, 11 minutes into the session. I've actually seen it when qualifying has actually lasted until, the rain has lasted until about 2 minutes before the end. Everyone has came out on the dries, and it's the case of the last person across the line possibly could get pole position. Whether we see that tonight, it's a different thing, but we are seeing quite a few guys coming out the pits. I think one of the Toro Rossos, Carlsberg or Vaporon, is one of the first cars out. It is in fact Carlsberg, our defending, well, we can call him the defending champion now, to be honest, because he is our new champion for TTL F1. Recon as well has just came out on track. But with a majority of the guys leaving the pit lane, I think we've got about 8 or 9 of the cars out on track that have left. And it definitely looks like to me, Carlsberg and Recon are not going to go for pole position, looking at what they're doing.
They're absolutely not, no. Carlsberg, it looks donuts. I think Carlsberg's having a little bit of a celebration here. He knows he's the champion. He knows getting there. But
well.
now they've got a 5-place grid penalty. They got to behave themselves. There's still one more race to go, but you can tell while Kasper is not having a little bit of fun here tonight. He knows he's the champion. He knows he can't be caught. He's not only the drivers' champion, but the constructors' champion too. So you can forgive him for getting a little bit excited going into this race here. Meanwhile, we're on board with Kelvin now as he makes his way down towards turn 12, and he'll make his way now up through the gears in through the final quarters now. Full throttle all the way through, and of course you've got to be very careful in these intermediate conditions. The back end just wants to step out on you. As you see here, Kelvin taking a wider line to try and build up as much speed as possible here as he crosses the line to start a new flying lap here. Here, the Interlagos circuit. A little bit of a lock-up on the front left-hand side as he makes his way in through the Center S now, through that long turn 3, which in these wet conditions seems like it goes on forever now. But nice planted car there. No DRS, of course, because of these intermediate conditions as we make our way now down towards turn 4, end of the first sector, then 19.3. As Kelvin makes his way now through, tiptoeing his way through into turn 6, and then up the hill as we head towards turn 7. A narrow part of the track here, very narrow indeed, as we now head in towards turn 7. Getting that curve on the inside, you can see then the back end wants to step out on entrance in towards turn 8, but as you can see, Kelvin crossed the white line on the entrance into turn 8 there. Now going through turn 9, and you can see that the back end again wanted to step out on him, nice and well held there in towards turn 10. Turn 10, the track cambers towards the apex of the corner, so try and pick that up if you can. Now going through the long left-hander of turn 11, very easy for the back end to step out here as Kelvin now heads in towards turn 12, keeping it nice and tidy through there. On exit then once again, keeping the car nice and tidy as you make your way up the hill. Of course, that's the last braking and apex point you've got to absolutely nail if you want to get a good lap around here. But Kelvin will complete a lap here at Interlagos. No lap time set, of course, because his lap time was invalidated, but we should be seeing some lap times too. And speaking of the devil, Cass sets the first lap time of the qualifying session, 1:18.823 from Cass. That puts him on provisional pole out of one driver setting a lap time so far.
Yeah, the GOAT just coming across the line as well. He goes 1.3 seconds behind on a 1:20.2 out on track. So we've only seen 2 drivers actually out on track. Toxic has picked up a 5-place grid penalty with a collision of Kasper. What would you expect when they're not taking it that seriously, to be honest? But Toxic has retired from the session as well. We noticed with Navy just going top there with an 18.3. I noticed with LR Ghost, he was on a lap and he has invalidated as well. Chubbs is going quicker with a 1:18.2. So not the guys that not necessarily have been picking up consistent points this season have now got a massive chance to maybe even put it on pole in this session.
Absolutely. Well, Chubbs is on pole position as we speak right now, and 18.2 puts him on provisional pole position. And of course, his debut in Russia went pretty well. His next race at the USA went even better, 8th and 6th respectively. Well, by that trend, James, a P4 surely is on the cards for him tonight.
P4 could be on the cards for him tonight, and I mean, if he's quicker than Navy, who was a former, well, he was really quick last season in TTL F1 when we were commentating on him, and obviously the Dutchman hasn't had it the right way so far this season. Chubbs, though, is quicker than Navy by just under a tenth of a second, so Chubbs doing a fantastic job out on track. Watch out for Vaporon, though. He could be one, if he gets a lap in, that could really set the timing screens alight. Toxic and Kasper doing that last to first challenge. Recon, interestingly, is one of the only guys out of the main protagonists that is actually trying to set a lap within qualifying. If he retires now, then I've just, yeah, that's a commentator's curse.
Well, there it is. There it is. The commentator's curse to end all commentators' curses. You just can't help it, can you, James? We've lost 3 of the...
head off the wood.
Well, we've lost 3 of the competitors, or the protagonists, as James put them there in the first few minutes. And, that's Kelvin off big time there as we head through turn 6. As he looked to get out of that one. Bit of front wing damage to the left-hand side there, I think. Light E, meanwhile, keeping it nice and tidy out of turn 12. He's having trouble with keeping his laps valid there. He did go wide on the exit of turn 3. Over the curb he went, and that, of course, invalidated his lap time there. He will try and go again, and, of course, the rules change, really, or the rule of thumb changes when you get into a wet qualifying session. Whereas in dry qualifying, you get 1 lap on the softs and that's about it. You've got to change onto a new set. With these intermediate tyres, well, because you're probably not going to start on these tyres, it's a really good idea to get as many laps on them as possible because, well, the delta between one lap and another is very minimal, especially in these conditions. It's more important that you keep the tyres in that temperature zone to try and get the maximum performance out of them. But lap after lap on these tyres, as the fuel decreases, you'll find that you'll go quicker and quicker as every lap passes.
I think that's what we've been seeing as well with Cass, who's in third, 118.5. He's done 2 laps on a set of inters. Yes, it's not the greatest running from out on track, and not many laps have been set, but he has improved his time by about 0.3 of a second, from 118.8, I think it was, to 118.5. So Cass improving by just under 0.3 of a second. Gort as well has improved on his lap time at 118.7. So we're seeing some of the lap times come in now. Sean at 118.8. And I mean, without Recon, Toxic and Calsper, it does give one of these guys a big opportunity to start on pole position. Chubb's currently out on top, but factor in the top 5, separated by less than 0.6 of a second. I think that's good going, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. As Lighty comes across the line in third, and 18.5. He did go purple through Sector 1, so good time from the German, and I think there's even more time to find as he misses out turn 2 there, obviously coming back to the pits. Ghost then in the McLaren, currently yet to set a lap time. He's currently, I believe, on a lap right now. You've also got Spike there, who's just gone purple through Sector 2, now making his way through those left-handers now all the way up towards the start-finish line. Let's see where the Racing Point can get onto the grid at this moment in time. With just under 10 minutes to go, you can see Spike there going to the right-hand side. That's P7 for him, 119.1 there, as I think he was starting to prepare for his next lap rather than focus on finishing this one, because you saw there he went to the right hand side of the track, which is what you'd normally see if someone was building up speed for the next lap.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, he lost speed onto his first lap anyways, as Ghost goes quickest with a 117.9. Good lap there by the Brit, the livid man, going to the top of the standings. But with Spike, I noticed when, just before he started his lap, he was doing a Kimi Räikkönen through turn 12, where we nearly went off into the F2 pit lane. But Spike doing a good job out on track currently, and I mean, it's only 1.1 or 1.2 seconds separating the top 8 out on track. With Vaporon and Kelvin still to set competitive lap times as well, I wouldn't be surprised if this whole session is covered by just under a second.
We'll have to wait and see how it all goes down. That seems to be a phrase I say a lot recently.
Oh, I've just seen an interesting comment actually in the comment section. Calsper has came in saying, I'm running no ABS this race, so don't expect too much. And Martin and Christine Underwood as well ought to have a TTTV World Cup series. There's an idea, Maze. Spike to go quicker and go second. 118 flat. Nice lap by Spike. Improves on his time.
Yeah, with just 8.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session, it is still Ghosts on provisional pole position, with Spike in second, Chubbs in third. Kelvin is currently on an outlap right now as he looks to try and improve. Obviously a 1:42, not representative of his pace out here. We'll have to see how he gets on with a new lap. Vaporon is on a flying lap as he makes his way now in through turn 6 and 7. That double right-hander making his way now on towards turn 8. We've got the Gort, who's currently in the pit lane, 118.7 from him so far. Cass in 7th place on an outlap, 118.5 is his best so far in the Ferrari. Navy down in 5th place with an 18.3, but of course it's all about in this qualifying session being the last person to cross that start-finish line, as Navy there going 0.8 quicker in Sector 2. That's a remarkable improvement. I wonder if the rain is slightly easing off. It kind of looks like it is, but the sun's also trying to poke through as Navy now makes his way on towards the start-finish straight, towards the start-finish line, and it is a 17.4. The track is definitely improving as the Dutchman goes top.
Vaporon might go into second here as well. He just falls short, goes 5th, the 118.2. That looked like a nice lap though from Vaporon, but Navy, well, I was going to say he is 0.5 ahead of Ghost, but he's now only a 10.5 ahead of Spike, who has gone into second with the 117.5. So again, noticeable running from the guys out on track. Chubbs has done 4 laps. He's just about to come into the pit lane there. Lighty is back out on an outlap. So we should see some more running out on track from these guys. But to me, I think the rain is going to stop pretty soon, maybe within the next 2 or 3 minutes. And as soon as the rain stops, DRS will be enabled within a minute and a half of that happening.
Yeah, it does look like it's eased off. Oh, Vaporeon loses the back end there onto the grass in the infield and taking a slightly different line through turn 8 there. But just a little bit of a wayward moment for Vaporeon there as he made his way through. Now through turn 9 onwards towards turn 10. It's safe to say that lap has been abolished, but I'm sure he'll want to try another lap. No damage done really to that car. Maybe the tyre temperatures might have been slightly increased there, so it might be a little bit squirrely, that car, through the next series of corners. But as we make our way now in towards turn 12, the Toro Rosso currently in 5th place right now. And again, that back end wanting to step out on the exit of turn 12. I wonder if that's a sign that the rear tyres are getting too hot.
Yeah, he might be trying to do a bit of a Tokyo Drift masterclass as well, to be honest. Out on track, and you can see going into the pit lane. That is perfectly demonstrated. Well, I'll give that a 7 out of 10, to be honest. But there we go. Vaporeon into the pit lane. Lighty is 2/10 down on his lap as well. The Alfa Romeo man currently 8th, 118.5. He's over a second off Navy, but he can improve on his lap. And I think he can probably find time maybe in the middle and the final sector. Just want to see what a sector 2 time is like, but I think he is off on. He's not on a lap at all. He's running no ERS on this lap. So Lighty, yeah, that's confirmed, 3.5 seconds down. And we've got Gort up by a 10th in the middle sector.
Here comes Kelvin then towards the line to finish his flying lap here. What's it going to be? It's a 19.0. It still puts him in 10th place at the moment, but this track is always improving. It is worth staying out and trying to get some lap times under your belt. The Gort then a 10th faster through the second sector than his previous best at the moment. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough to improve as he makes his way now up the hill as we now head through that treble left-hander through 13, 14 and 15. Onwards now towards the start-finish line to complete his lap. Obviously, it's up to you whether you place the car on the way to the line, and he does improve by just under half a second there. Up to 7th place he goes, so he really made me mince my words there. He improves now up to the 4th row of the grid.
I was about to say when he came through the middle sector split, he was just over 5/10 up, so the Gort coming in with a good lap. He lost a little bit of time actually within that final sector. It's a good lap though nonetheless, and it's an 18.3 that puts him 7th. And again, some of these guys that you might not necessarily have thought of getting pole position are potentially going to get pole position and get a good qualifying result at it as well. I think the rain is very much easing off, and I honestly think dries is just a matter of minutes away. Whether it comes before the end of the session, though, remains to be seen. The more the rain begins to fall with 4 minutes to go, the less time there will be for dries. I think it might be an inter-session, to be honest.
I think it will be by the time the rain eases off and enough is done to run the dry tyres. We might have already seen the checkered flag. Here comes Lighty then towards the line to start a new flying lap. The Gort then running in 7th place in qualifying at the moment, has invalidated this lap so far, but I'm sure he'll be making his way back towards the pit lane, deciding then whether to go onto a set of dries or stay onto a set of intermediates. That's going to be a huge decision for him to make. He stays out though to start a new flying lap on those same set of intermediate tyres. You've got Chubbs out there, losing that back end slightly through turn 8 there as we head through turn 9 and then up the hill towards turn 10. Yellow flags there as Lighty is out of the qualifying session just after turn 5, that is.
Yeah, I think he's probably caught it, probably on the outside curb. He's gone into the inside wall. There is a Williams coming through, so I think that's good. I'll try and ride on board with that in a moment. I think Chubbs is still on the lap, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's got the outside curb, and the left side of the car, the left wheel of the car is off on that car. So, unfortunately, no further part in the session. Chubbs is about to come across the line. He lost all the time in the middle sector with that slight moment. He goes 7/10 down, but he was 3/10 up through the first sector. If he can get a good consistent lap in, if he does, and if he doesn't take turn 4 with a little bit of hesitancy either, he could really be on for a good lap, and he could challenge Navy.
He could indeed. Sean, meanwhile, making his way now in through turn 11, really tiptoeing his way through onwards towards turn 12. Just trying to turn the car in, make sure you've got the grip there. The rain has definitely eased off, but with only 2 minutes on the clock, is it worth someone pulling out a Nico Hulkenberg of 2010 and try and go onto a set of dry tyres? Here comes Sean then towards the line, see what lap time he can produce on the board. It is an improvement by 0.08 of a second, and that's enough to jump him up 2 positions, up to 6th place.
Yeah, 0.08 of a second improvement there for Sean. And I mean, that's the difference you normally get in qualifying here in Brazil. Sean improving 0.08, it's the difference between 8th and 6th in the end. So Sean jumping up to 6th A nice lap from him. His teammate, Chubbs, is 300s down in the middle sector. He's about to come across the line. Vaporon session looks like it's done. And the rain is still falling. It's very, very light out on track, but the rain is still falling. And it's going to be notable because I think we're going to have a total intermediate session. Chubbs coming across the line now, doesn't improve 700ths off, but he was 2/10 up in the first sector again. He loses the time in that middle sector.
Well, we've got Kelvin now who's starting a flying lap. Spike is out there as well. As you can see, the rain is so light now. It's so fine as well that you can't even see it. And you can see there's still spray out on the track. Yeah, it has stopped. Yes, it has. But obviously, it's a very difficult call for someone to make. I wonder if someone has made that call with less than a minute to go. There is no more time out there. But as you can see, all the fitted tyres are intermediate. So it is intermediate running towards the end now. As I wonder if it was worth... Obviously, hindsight is always 20/20, but I wonder if it was worth someone risking it onto a set of soft tyres to see where they could finish up. But I guess on the intermediate tyres as well, if the race is a dry start, they'll be able to choose whichever tyre they like to start this race on. Spike, meanwhile, making his way now through that treble left-hander onwards now towards the start-finish line. Let's see how he can get himself up the order. Can he get himself on pole position at the moment? No, 18.3 at the moment, but he will get one more chance with only a handful of seconds on the clock. So too will the McLaren of Ghosts, who now makes his way through the centre S. We've got a Haas making its way up towards the pit lane now, and that is Chubbs making his way through. Got a Racing Point of Kelvin heading towards the line with only seconds to spare. He's invalidated this lap. Can he get in another lap? Is he going to make the flag? Is he going to make the line?
Ooh.
Yes, just about. Call that for timing there. Kelvin will get himself another lap here to try and get himself up the order and improve on his 19.0. Cass coming towards the line then. Let's see if he can improve on his 18.0 as he crosses the line. He can't improve and stays in 5th place. I wonder now if the intermediate tyres are just not working on this track at this moment in time. Some sort of crossover point happening right now. As you can see, Sean there losing that back end, and there goes the invalidation. DRS is now enabled here as they all now fight their way in towards the pit lane. I think the Gort as well coming into the pit lane. We've got a Renault here of Navy making his way up towards the start-finish line. I think this is going to be him coming into the pit lane. No, it's not. He's going to complete his lap here. Can he improve on a 17.4? No, he can't. 18.0. The Gort has retired. How about Spike? Can he improve at all on his lap time? No, he can't. 17.7 from the Racing Point there. And Ghost, 17.6 there from him. That is unfortunate. Not much running to do at the end there on a set of the intermediates. It just didn't turn out that way. But Navy is on pole position for the Brazilian Grand Prix.
And to be honest, I think best of the rest in terms of who you would expect to be on pole position. So Navy's doing a fantastic job. Spike second and Ghost in third. Well, the last to first challenge is going to be quite difficult for Recon, Toxic and Calsper as well.
Absolutely, especially when the top 10 can decide which tyre they want to start on, assuming, of course, it is a dry start to this race. But yeah, 17.4 on the intermediate conditions, and towards the end of the race there, or towards the end of that session, you could see that it was ready for the slick tyres. And no, but it was always going to be difficult. I don't think anybody would have risked it on the soft tyres or maybe even the medium tyres to get yourself up there. Why put that risk of putting it in the wall when you can start on whatever tyre you like anyway for the start of the race? So I think that would have been going through their minds as well. But we now head towards that Brazilian Grand Prix and the race. Let's see how it's all starting. It's a dry start to this race at least. So as is confirmed, because it was a wet qualifying session and the fastest lap times were on the intermediate tyres, that means the top 10 can choose whichever tyre they like to start on for this race. Now I wonder how many drivers are going to go onto the medium tyres to start this race.
I would imagine about... I think all of them might, I think all of them might go on a set of mediums. There might be one or two exceptions. I'm thinking Vaporon in particular could go a little bit of an alternative strategy. He could go on a set of softs and then try and last it out on a set of mediums from around lap 10 to lap 13, which is probably where the pit window is going to be for the set of softs. I have seen drivers make it a little bit earlier than that, from about lap 8 to lap 9, so bear that in mind. But it will be interesting to see, are there going to be any exceptions rather than the rule in terms of the tyres out on track? And especially so because we've got Calsper, Toxic and Recon starting right down the bottom of the field. We're about to find out what tyres everyone is on, and everyone looks to me as if they're all, well, quite a difference, actually. And Spike on a set of hards. That jumps out at me.
Absolutely. So Spike on hards. I wonder if he's going either hard medium or hard soft towards the end of this race. As you can see then, Navy starting on a set of mediums. Ghosts on softs with Chubbs following suit on softs as well. Cass is on the medium tyres with Sean as well following suit. Vaporon is on the soft tyres with the Gort, Lighty, Kelvin, Recon and Toxic all starting on the medium tyres with Kalsper at the back of the grid starting on a set of these soft tyres. Of course, Toxic and Kalsper picked themselves up 5-place grid penalties. I don't think they would have cared about that, to be honest with you. However, that has pretty much put them well and truly at the back of the grid. To be honest with you, with those grid penalties, they could have been starting from the pit lane, but you know, or back all the way in USA probably. But the point is, they are racing. They're at the back of the field right now, and they'll be hoping to try and complete a last to first challenge, especially for Kalsper, the champion-elect. I wouldn't say the reigning champion. He's not quite the reigning champion just yet. Navy will have one last race to bow out as the current champion before he hands over the crown to Kalsper for next season. They'll have one last chance to put a race win on the board for this season and really try and show Kalsper that he'll be right with him next season. And of course, it is one of the last races we'll have in TTL F1 League 1 before it all merges with TTML next season. And make sure you're following that league on Twitter at TTML_F1 for a brand new season on a brand new game, combining TMC and TTL to pretty much form a 5-division series. So it should be absolutely brilliant to get involved with. I'm looking forward to it as well. For now, though, we've got one last rodeo here in TTL League 1 F1 here, as we just wait for that Alfa Romeo in the background, who I believe is of Lighty, to take his position on the grid. But we are moments away from the Brazilian Grand Prix here in TTL F1 League 1, and we're about to get started at the final round of this season. And let's see how it all goes down as the 5 red lights start counting up. Here we are then, it is 5 red lights. We are underway. What are the starts like? It should be a good start from Navy. It's a good start from Spike, but look at that start from Chubbs then as we make our way now down in towards turn 1. He's got a great start, has Chubbs then. Can everybody keep it clean all the way through turns 1, 2 and 3 through the centre? We've got Kalsper off at the first corner then. That's not great for his chances in this last first challenge as we make our way now down towards turn 4 here. You've got a Ferrari of Cass having a look on the inside of Spikes. Chubbs has got a brilliant start off the grid then. He's now up to second place. Kelvin, meanwhile, making his way through. You got Toxic and Lighty making contact going through turn 4 there as Toxic asserts his dominance there as you got, Kelvin running wide on the entrance of turn 6 there and has to bail out the corner completely. That's going to hand some positions to Lighty and Sean as they make their way through. Ghost, meanwhile, watching carefully at the back of Vaporon as he's looking at Cass and Spike battling away. The important thing for Spike will be now that the race start is over. He's got to make sure that he keeps a good pace on those tyres, especially the hard tyres. He's going to find it difficult to keep up with the pace there. Kalsper, meanwhile, has got a position on the racing point. He's now up to 12th place. Toxic, meanwhile, got a better exit off the corner than the Gort through turn 12. He's now up to 9th place as we complete a lap here at Interlagos. Navy leads with Chubbs in second and Spike in third place. We're looking on board with Cass as he looks to send it down the inside in towards turn 1. He'll be on the outside for turn 2. Spike can just about hold on, but look at this queue happening behind. Meanwhile, Lighty and the Gort battling their way through the centre S as well, jumping back on board with Cass as he looks into the slipstream. He's got to be careful here because he's got a load of cars behind him. Spike defending the inside line in towards turn 4 here as we now head our way through turn 5. Still, they run side by side on the narrowest part of the track. The Ferrari's got the inside line towards turn 6, but wisely backs out of it. However, you've got the Toro Rosso now, Vaporon, trying to make his move now around the outside in towards turn 8. He'll now have the inside line for turn 9, and Vaporon there getting the move done. And, the Cass there had to back out of that one. He realised he wasn't going to make the move, stick up the inside, and had to back out of it. Recon then spotting an open door on the inside of Ghost there, but couldn't quite have enough grip to take advantage of that situation. And you've got to pull this mic away from me, James, otherwise you're never getting it back.
Yeah, Recon just had a little bit of contact as well at Ghost with the top of the hill. I think it was through turn 8 where they made slight contact. Recon was going to go for a gap. that really wasn't there. Chubbs is on the back of Navy though, softs against mediums in the start of lap 3. Navy, not the fastest lap of the race, Chubbs with the 1:11.1. He's right on the back of Navy, running through the centre S's for the first time. Ghost is through on Cass, who was done a Fernando Alonso of 2012, so Cass is off through turn 8. Recon is right on the back of Ghost as well. Chubbs trying to get the move done on Navy, but Recon is on the back of Ghost. Can he get the move done? He's on a set of mediums. I think Ghost just about defending that one, and we've got the Gort going down the inside as well on Cass. Kalsper down the inside on Mighty. 2x2 like Noah's Ark. They go. Kalsper forces his way through up into 10th position. Ghost back down to 8th, and something that I picked up early on in the race as well, Sean has got right side end plate damage, I do believe, after contact with the wall through turn 3. He got caught on the curb through the wall. Recon and Toxic have a right squabble.
Absolutely, that battle for 6th place. Toxic sending it down the inside in towards turn 10, but he's run into the back of the McLaren. He's got end plate damage. That's going to allow Recon to go through on an unsettled Ghost there as they run side by side all the way through turn 11. Now Recon is the inside of turn 12, but the McLaren's not giving up on this one, using the curb as well, side by side as they head through the treble left-hander, I should say. Toxic now has a decision. He's got the DRS. He moves to the outside now for turn 1. You can see up ahead, Vaporon and Spike battling away now. So many battles going on here as we make our way down. And Toxic, out of nowhere, somehow got that car stopped then in towards turn 1. And this has a risk of really boiling over here. They've all got to calm down, especially for Toxic there. Just sending it down the inside. Vaporon getting the move done on Spike with some DRS down the back straight in towards turn 4. You've got Kalsper trying to make a move on Cass, then up the inside. Cass has to go off the track, then Kalsper making his way through. He's now up to 8th place.
Yeah, Kalsper having the car ahead on Cass. He got the move done down the inside. It was off camber of the corner as well, so both of them going side by side through there. Always going to be quite tricky. So Kalsper through up to 8th. Toxic has picked up significant left side end plate damage after that contact with Ghost, and I believe Ghost might have picked up an illegal overtake on Toxic for him forcing his way through. Ghost then overtook around the outside of him. It was literally 3 wide through turn 2, with Toxic runs miles wide coming through turn 11. But Ghost might have had an illegal overtake there and had to let Toxic back through, but it lets Kalsper onto the back as well.
Absolutely, and Ghost not getting turn 12 right at all. We got a mountain of wheel spin there. Here comes Kalsper then looking for a move on the McLaren. The McLaren defends the inside as Kalsper sets the fastest lap of this race. The Toro Rosso has to go the long way round at turn 1. Has he got the inside line for turn 2? He's spun around at turn 2 and has to try and find his way back onto the track there. Door was closing, and they made contact there. The Toro Rosso finds himself around. Meanwhile, then Chubbs has got a good run on Navy, but he comes across him at the narrowest part of the track, which is so unfortunate. Nowhere to go for that one. Recon now on the inside of Spike as we make our way in towards turn 6, and the Dutchman gets the move done in towards the right-hander. And you can see there, this touch! Spike misses his braking point. Recon there is a little bit spun there. Toxic tries to see the full advantage and gets past Recon there, as Spike has now dropped all the way down to 8th place. He was trying to wait up for the Renault driver as well. The Gort then tries to take full advantage of Spike there as we make our way in towards turn 10. Now through turn 11. Spike has the inside line on the Gort, and the Gort then will back out of that one, I reckon, in towards turn 11 as there's a brake marker board.
Into the back of Gort.
And Lighty missed his braking point.
Yeah, completely missed his braking point, and the board has gone flying as well.
Well, at the moment, it's a little bit scrappy, but how about this for this battle for the lead then? Navy and Chubbs then making their way now down the back straight towards turn 4. And Navy has some defending to do because, of course, he's got Chubbs behind him, who's on the DRS on the back of him anyway. You've got Toxic, meanwhile, with that front wing damage. You've got Ghost as well, looking for a move up the inside at turn 4. And you can see there, Toxic, he's always going to struggle in the mid-speed corners. That's what Ghost and Recon have to decide here. Recon going all the way off to the right-hand side to get that move completed. Nowhere else for him to go. He's now got the inside of turn 6 and turn 7. Now onto the inside of turn 8 as we've got yellow flags involving a Kelvin there, as Ghost now make his try and find a way past Toxic, but Recon there, well, he was off the track going up the hill, but that didn't seem to bother him too much. He's got the position. Toxic and Ghost now, meanwhile, battling their way through turn 11, and that's not where you want to be for Ghost. Right on the outside with the front wing damage to the Red Bull. Ghost now will have the traction on the exit of turn 12 here, as Toxic is trying to defend for all he can, knowing that he's going to have a substantial amount of damage.
Chubb's going around the outside of Navy for the lead of the race, and he's got the move done, has he? The Haas is down the inside, he gets the move done on Navy. Fantastic stuff from Chubbs all the way around the outside, switch it to the inside through turn 2, and he gets the move done, but now Navy's going to come back at him down towards turn 4. Can he get the move done? He can. The Renault, the Dutchman, right around the outside of Chubbs, and he's got back the lead of the race. The positions changing left, right, and centre. Lighty at the race as well. I think I was at the top of the hill through turn 10.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great battling between the front runners there as Kelvin now retires from the session then from 12th place. Yeah, that is in the pit lane, so he's decided to call it a day and call it a season for Kelvin as he looks towards next season now. Meanwhile, Ghosts in 5th place, Toxic in 6th with Cass in 7th place. Now the thing is, Toxic has front wing damage, so surely you'd be following close behind through the medium speed corners and not positioning the car so that Toxic understeers into you. Surely you'd be looking for the inside line rather than the outside.
I think, to be honest as well, Ghost is now beginning to pull off the gap. He's got the move done. There was a tiny bit of desync between them both. They went inside of each other a little bit, which was unbroadcastably bad, if I've got to be honest. We didn't want to broadcast that with our viewing audience being a few kids and stuff like that. Calls for 1:10.9, fastest lap of the race though. But Toxic is doing well, I think, to keep onto the back of Ghost. Cass is on the back of him. Obviously, with the wing damage, he's trying to fight aggressively for the positions. It is the last race of the season, but it doesn't mean to say that you've got to treat each other with the same respect as you've shown for the last 10 races. And I think that might just be getting lost a little bit tonight.
Well, Toxic as well will be fighting for everything because he's got that front wing damage. Meanwhile, Kalsper then making light work of Sean on the fresher, much easier soft tyres on the inside in towards turns 6 and 7. He's now up to 9th place and, of course, will be crowned champion after this race as he sealed, signed and delivered the championship back in USA 2 races ago. But meanwhile, you've got a lovely battle going on for the lead here. Navy and Chubbs. This is the point now where the soft tyres might be getting past their best. Still, Chubbs is in the DRS zone of Navy as we make our way now in towards turn number 1. Believe it or not, this is Chubbs' 3rd race in TTL F1 League 1, and already he's trying to battle for the lead. Previous results in Russia, where he finished in 8th place. USA, where he finished in 6th. Now here at Brazil, he's got a chance of a race win. Look at this overspeed now. Down in towards turn 4. He's got the inside line. Navy's on the outside. Has to take to the curb. And has Chubbs got this move done? Yes, he has. Up the hill we go towards turn 6 and 7. And Chubbs now leads the race here in Brazil. And Navy is down to 2nd. But how long can Chubbs hold on to that, and how long can he hold on to his soft tyres?
I think he's now got a bit of an advantage, to be honest, because Navy looks like he might be overheating now his front slightly, and he's just lost a little bit of time right at the top of the hill through turn 8. Now Chubbs coming down the hill through turn 10 and then into 11. He's now beginning to pull out the gap. That's all he needed, really. A little bit of clean air, and he's going to be absolutely away and clear. Navy has, I don't think, has got a hope now to try and stay within DRS. I mean, it's already 7/10 of the gap. So that is how much Chubbs is now flying away from Navy. He's just about within DRS. But Chubbs, 9/10 of a second away, and I think that's probably the battle for first over, to be honest.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's only lap 10 out of 36. Meanwhile, Vaporon is into the pit lane then for his stop in this race, and I wonder now if he's going to put on a set of medium tyres. They'll have to last 27 laps on those tyres. That's going to be a huge ask for those medium tyres, but medium tyres are at the ready, and in comes the Toro Rosso into the pits, the first scheduled stop of this race. Meanwhile, Cass is now on the back of Toxic now. It's the Ferrari's turn to try and find a way past the injured Red Bull now in towards turns 5 and 6. You can see there Toxic running wide, and this is going to be Cass's opportunity up the hill. You can see there Toxic, though, using his ERS battery to perfect effect. Okay, he didn't have a great exit out of turn 5, but he used that battery to help his acceleration towards turn 6 up the hill there. So really good strategic driving from the Red Bull there. Navy still sticking on the back of Chubbs then, just over half a second between them. You've got Cass here battling away. You've also got Spike having to defend from Kalsper behind him as we now make our way through. We've got yellow flags there, and Vaporon's out.
Vaporon out, and that's through turn 5, but I think he might have got caught on the outside curve through turn 4, and he's gone straight into the wall. That's on cold tyres, remember. He's just came out the pits, so Vaporon out of the race, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Vaporon out. We're now down to 10 runners. Meanwhile, then Cass looking to the outside in towards turn 1. with a Red Bull that has half a front wing, and Toxic trying to defend, and that's what's going to happen when you try and overtake a car that hasn't got much of a front wing around the outside. He's simply going to understeer into you, and Cass now going down the back straight. You've got Spike now looking to try and take advantage down towards turn 4. We go up the inside, the racing point goes and just about gets that move done. Kalsper looking for a gap that's not there down the inside, really trying to push his luck there, as Cass now has to concede the position to Kalsper. Up to 7th place Kalsper goes, up to 6th place Spike goes, and in the blink of an eye the Ferrari's down to 8th.
Yeah, I think Kalsper actually might have made contact on the rejoin with Cass, and that's what forced him wide onto the curb and nearly pick up a 3-second time penalty, because it has been done a couple of times so far this tonight here in Brazil. But Kalsper now free. He's on the back of Spike once again. Cass just being called out right there. It'd be interesting to see, though, if Chubbs comes in to the pit very soon indeed. He's not on this lap, but those tyres are going to be quite worn towards the end. Kalsper, in the meantime, looking to try and get past Spike. This is for 6th position. I was going to say this is for 12th position, but we're on lap 12. Kalsper trying to go around the outside of Spike. Battle the lip breakers down in towards turn 1, and Spike just about coming on top. I think Kalsper, rightfully so, having to concede the position.
Yeah, going through turn 3 now. He'll get another bite of the cherry here, but meanwhile Spike is going to be right on the back of Toxic in towards turn 4. He won't look for a move, or will he? He definitely thought about it, definitely filling those mirrors there of the Red Bull with that Pink Panther as we make our way up the hill now towards turn 6 and 7. Chubbs hasn't really got that lead up and away yet, still under half a second, and I wonder if those soft tyres are starting to be a little bit past their sell-by date at this moment in time, and where the medium tyres might have the delta advantage. You can see there, that is Kalsper trying to go up the inside into turn 9 on the inside of Spike. Now he's on the outside in towards turn 10, so that didn't quite work out for him, for the champion-elect, as we make our way in through turn 11. Now towards turn 12, you can see there Spike driving the widest racing point Brazil has ever seen. Exit out of turn 12 is crucial. Spike, meanwhile, has a good run here to try and get past Toxic with some DRS as well. He's got to be careful about the Toro Rosso behind him as well, as we make our way now on towards the start-finish straight. It's going to be 3 wide. It is Spike. We're looking for the inside. Toxic does well to block him off. Meanwhile, that just allows Kalsper to get one of the easiest moves of all time there, as Spike there, they make contact going through turn 2, then through turn 3. And as I keep saying, Toxic down the outside is not going to happen. It's not going to work, because he'll just understeer.
Yeah, fantastic stuff though by Kalsper to really pick out a good move around the outside. I'm not sure what Spike was weaving at, not sure whether it was a Toxic or whether it was at Kalsper, but to me, Kalsper completed a fair and clean move around the outside. He had the car ahead, and he's done 2 for 1 around the outside of turn 1. What's not to like about that?
Yeah, quick thinking there from the Toro Rosso driver to just get through. That's what he needs to do if he wants to continue this charge towards the front of the field. Lap 13 of 36 here at the Brazilian Grand Prix, which means we have 24 laps to go, 23 and a bit if you're picky. And it is Chubbs who leads the way ahead of Navy and Recon in 3rd. It's Ghost 4th with Kalsper 5th, Toxic in 6th and Spike in 7th, with Cass in 8th, the Gort 9th and Sean in the top 10. Chubbs is into the pits then from the lead of this race on the soft tyres, and that surely should mean that the soft tyres are starting to be past their sell-by date. Cass, meanwhile, looking to go round the outside then in towards turn 1. There's 2 intact front wings going into turn 1. Let's hope they stay intact as they make their way now through the centre S, and Cass gets the move done there, but picks up a 3-second time penalty for that slight cut at turn 2. The in-game stewards are very harsh at the centre S, but now Spike has a good run down towards turn 4 there. He's got the inside line and will take the inside line through turn 4. And Spike moves back up to 6th place. But watch out here, because Cass has got a great run through the double left-hander. On we go towards turn 6. Spike has the inside line, takes the curb, and maybe Cass will fancy a little bit of a switchback here in towards turn 8. Nothing doing, though, and he has to stay behind for now. But Spike fending off Cass, well, and Toxic, even with that front wing damage, still sticking with Kalsper.
Really surprised at Toxic's pace with that front wing damage, a severe front wing damage as well on that left side end plate. He's only 6.5 cents off Kalsper, who I mean has just recently overtaken him out on track. But Spike and Cass, just to come on board with this battle, I'm seeing really good lines being taken. Ghost is into the pits. Is Kalsper coming in as well? He is. So both soft runners are in. But Spike and Cass have been giving each other a lot of room. Maybe a bit too much room. Cass now down the inside, having a bit of a half commitment on Spike, but not going to get the move done. But this battle is very fair and is very, very good to watch.
Absolutely, the respect between the two of them is clearly there, and Cass there could have launched it down the inside, but he sort of realised at the end of the day that that door was probably going to close on him when he went for the move. Spike, meanwhile, running in fourth now as we make our way through turn 5 there. Up the hill we go towards turn 6, lap 15 of this race. There is your race leader of Navy. It's currently a Renault 1-2, and you have to go back so many years to find the last time that was uttered in Formula 1. We're Toxic in third there, with Spike in fourth and Cass in the top 5 there, but really trying to get onto the back of Spike. Carl's just into the pits then. Chubbs has pitted in. He's now got a 10-second lead over the champion-elect. And then Ghosts is in 9th place on fresh set of medium tyres. Yet to stop in this race are the top 6. Spike there on the hard tyres, maybe looking to see if the soft tyres can keep him running to the end of the race. We've seen they last around about 12 to 14 laps at this moment in time, maybe even longer than that. And if that's the case, then expect Spike in within the next couple of laps.
Yes, Spike on a set of hards. He could honestly go, I think, to about lap 24. If those tyres can get there, he could go to about lap 24, pit in for a set of softs, and then go to the end of the race on that set of soft compounded tyres. I've been monitoring as well the gap between Navy and Chubbs, and I was going to say that the gap was not coming down, but it is. Chubbs is only gaining 0.2 of a second on Navy, but it's not coming down at the rate you would expect. And I honestly think Navy and Chubbs are going to be quite close to each other when Navy decides to pit, and that should be within the next couple of laps.
It's a short pit lane as well, that's the thing. It's only about 17 to 19, maybe even 20 seconds in the pit lane here, but at this moment in time, if it's under that, then obviously Chubbs will get the jump on Navy, and obviously we'll have to see what tyres Navy puts on, because it could be when we get to the soft tyre running, or maybe Navy will put on a set of hards. I can't see him putting on a set of hard tyres. He's surely got to go for the softs.
He has to go for the soft, because otherwise he'd be losing his advantage right at the end of the race. And honestly, I think it's about 18, 19 seconds, as you say, for a pit stop around here. And remember, the pit lane is on the inside of the track and not the outside. So that is going to gain them time. Even with the overspeed around the outside, you normally see cars coming out the pit lane just ahead of one of the guys ahead. Toxic, by the way, just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Cass and Spike going to go for about, I think, going to go for round 4 here, to be honest, as Calsbert's just a 1:10.6. Here comes Cass down the inside again, a bit of a half commitment, but not getting the move done. Chubbs has got to deal with Gort just ahead as well. He's catching hand over fist.
He is indeed. Navy still leading though. 3.8 seconds over his teammate, with Toxic running in third. Spike and Cass battling it out for 4th place, with the Gort in 6th. He's being quickly closed by Chubbs. 0.6 of a second now between the Williams and the Haas as we make our way now in through turn 9. And the Gort has been known in the past that if he knows you're on a different strategy to him, he won't make too much of a fuss. But let's see what he does at the last race of this season.
Fight, fight, fight. That's what I think.
Well, meanwhile, Toxic's lost the back end at turn 12. Round he goes, and he did have a sizable gap over Spike. Cut down to 0.3 of a second. Now he's got problems here. Let's have a look and see. I wonder if that's some sort of... Is there a problem with that right rear tyre?
Oh, he nearly went into Calsper, actually. Yeah, he's definitely overheated the tyres. I don't think there's any puncture. He's got back going once again, so Toxic will have to come into the pits. What tyre does he go on? This is a very intriguing decision. Does he go softs? He cannot make softs to the end, and in fact he won't, because he's retired from the session. To Toxic out of the race, taking a Kimi Räikkönen through turn 12. Sure, he won't like to look back on that one, to be honest.
No, he just looked like he lit up the rear tyres, and that was the end of his day. And unfortunately, he's decided to call it that himself in the pit lane. So we are now down to 9 runners in this race. Just about to approach the halfway mark, and Navy still leads by 3.8 seconds over his teammate. Spike in third with Cass in fourth. You've got Chubbs here still on the back of the Gort as we make our way now up towards turn 10. And once again, the Gort is not normally a person to battle if he knows you're on a different strategy. He normally just doesn't waste time and lets you go through, or at least makes it easy for you to get the overtake done. But he's putting up a fight here as we head our way through turn 12. Let's see what happens here, because Chubbs will have some clear DRS then as we make our way through that treble left-hander all the way down the straight. You can see here the Gort moves to the right-hand side, and the Haas will go through. And of course the Gort there realising that maybe it's not worth battling away and losing more time for your strategy. Maybe he could use the car ahead now of Chubbs to help him in the DRS zone to maybe even close in to the cars ahead of Cass and Spike.
Yeah, Gort's just picked up a 3-second time penalty out of turn 2 as well. So that's going to be added on to the time at the end of the race. He's got to think about Sean, who is down in 9th position. Everyone, if they keep going, will score points. I cannot stress that enough. You will score points if you finish in the top 9. And there's that fastest lap point available as well for being within the top 10. So it could be quite interesting to see, I think, how this race is going to pan out. Chubbs has just picked up a 3-second time penalty. We're seeing plenty of penalties here tonight. The gap, by the way, between Navy and Chubbs, 19.3 seconds. Gort could have been employed by Renault to let Navy win the race. That was something that I was going to say before Chubbs overtook him.
Yeah, absolutely. Fifth place for Chubbs at the moment. 3.5 seconds back from a yet-to-stop Cass as we enter on to lap 20 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. 17 laps to go as that looks like Chubbs. He psyched me out there. I thought he was going to dive into the pit lane, but not just yet for the Haas driver. Not at all, hopefully, for the Haas driver in 5th place. He's already made his stop, and hopefully he'll get those medium tyres to the end of this race. There is your race leader, though, Navy in this one. Recon in 2nd, and of course he wants to bow out with a fantastic race here tonight as he makes his way now. He will be on the leaderboard, though. He is still a champion. He was the champion of season number 16, but of course he'll have to hand that crown over to Kalsper at the end of this race at the checkered flag. So this is his last race as the reigning champion, which is quite a sad sight to see for Recon. He'll know that he'll want to come back next season even stronger.
It's a sad sight to see, but I think he's got to put a very good performance in to really right his critics wrong. Because obviously he has done a fantastic job out on track. In fact, he's coming into the pits now, so Recon is in. Gives Navy an extra lap to do to get as much of the gap out to Chubbs as possible. And I think he's just gained 0.2 of a second there. Yeah, that gap is up to 19.8 seconds. I think Navy is going to be out in front. Recon onto a set of softs. 15 laps on a set of softs. He could be hitting puncture territory by the end.
It's doable, I reckon, on the soft tyres. Yeah. Absolutely. But now we head in through the centre S now. You can see Chubbs will hold on to the lead. Whereabouts is the Gort then on Recon? You can see there Recon is the inside line, but less speed carrying through down towards the next couple of corners. And there he rejoins behind the Gort then. So now Recon rejoins behind Chubbs. But here's the thing. Now the Renault finds himself on the soft tyres, and in theory has more pace on those tyres as well. He's got around about 2.5 seconds between himself and Chubbs at the moment. The battle is on for this race win.
Over the course of a lap, I think Recon would be about a second quicker than Gort, even just coming out the pit lane. And it looks like he could go for the move down and towards turn 10. No hanging about there. I saw that coming from an absolute mile back. Recon easily down the inside of Gort. Gort made to look quite ordinary there, to be honest. Recon through and he's up to 5th, and Navy's into the pits from the lead of the race. No front wing change. He's onto a set of soft compound of tyres. Chubbs is just out of turn 15 now. He's at the bottom of the pit lane. Navy is just coming out the pit lane. My God, this is going to be close. I think Navy might just be about a second ahead.
It's always a very narrow pit lane here. You've got to keep your wits about you, and I think Navy is going to be ahead on track. But who's going to have the better speed down that back straight? It is going to be Navy who rejoins ahead on the soft tyre, and that was crucial there for the Dutchman. He now takes the net lead of this race, 3 seconds back from Spike, who's yet to stop. Now the only driver in this race yet to stop to make that mandatory stop there as he makes his way now. 2.7, now 2.6. That gap is coming down faster than I can speak.
I think what caught Chubbs out as well, he got held up behind Gort for 1 or 2 laps, and that gap has literally gone from a point where he could be ahead of Navy to a point where he's 1.5 seconds behind coming out the pits. I mean, he's got Recon charging all over the back of him already. A Renault 1-2 is guaranteed, touch wood.
Well, let's see how it all goes down then as we make our way with Navy now through that treble left-hander. Spike now dives into the pit, so no need to worry about battling for Navy. He can now take the race lead. Meanwhile, there is worry to battle for Recon and Chubbs here, as Recon having to hold off Chubbs then in towards turn 1 as we've got yellow flags in sector 3. That's Ghosts, who's around at turn 12.
Yeah, I think he's done a toxic, to be honest. I think he just lit up the rears on that set of medium compound of tyres, and he's now dropped down behind Cass and behind Gort. He's not, oh, he is going to come into the pit lane. He could still go for the fastest lap, though. Spike and Cass very close, and Cass has undercut Spike coming out the pits. It's so close, but Cass is ahead of Spike for the first time in the race, and Ghost is out of the race and is retired in the pit lane.
Yeah, unfortunately, he could definitely have gone onto a set of soft tyres and see what happens there, but now we won't get any chance of points there. So Spike now on the soft tyres, right behind Cass. Let this battle commence again.
Oh, let this battle commence. This is going to be fantastic. If they give each other the same amount of respect as they did in the first half of the race, I have no doubt in my mind this could be one of the battles of the season.
Let's have a look and see how this all goes down. Cass in 5th with Spike in 6th as we make our way through turn 11 onwards towards turn 12. Yellow flags in sectors 1 and 2. That is for the McLaren that has retired from this race in the pit lane. So that will eventually pull to one side. But Cass here, this is the difference now. They're on similar tyres now. Whereas before, Cass was on the medium, Spike was on the hard tyres. Now they're on, look at there, yeah, you're right. Now down the inside, in towards turn 1. The Racing Point has the inside line. Can he get it slowed down in time in towards turn 2? He can, but that Ferrari is going to have a better run in through turn 3. And more importantly, he'll have the DRS now down towards turn 4. Spike trying to defend on a narrower piece of track then. He'll have to go the long way around the Ferrari in towards turn 4, which of course the Racing Point gives him the room there. Now through turn 5, and there is the Ferrari holding on to 5th place there. Great battling between the two of them.
Fantastic battling. Cass and Spike showing a lot of respect to each other. We see the yo-yo effect happening there between them both. So Cass through, Spike was through, he's up to 5th. Cass repaying the favour, he got the DRS and he's back up to 5th as well. But these guys shouldn't battle too much. It's 10 seconds the gap to Carlsberg. I don't see that gap coming down right to the point where they're going to be right on the back. But certainly, if they get to about 5 seconds, Carlsberg, I think, has got a penalty, if I'm not mistaken. Cass and Spike should work together rather than battle. But if they do battle, it's going to be very interesting.
I think last race of the season, of course they're going to battle. As Cass now defends the inside line. Spike once again has the DRS. I think the Ferrari has the defence plan locked down here in through turns 1, 2 and 3, because now he's got the DRS running down towards turn 4. It happened just one lap ago. Let's see if Cass's plan works this time around as he looks to close in. Spike planting the car in the middle of the track. Where's Cass going to go? He thinks to the outside. Spike defending the inside line this time, and this time Spike does get the defence done and dusted. He just planted that car in the middle of the track, made Cass do the work there. Cass chose the outside line, and unfortunately for him, that didn't quite work, but great defending from Spike.
Spike always, when he defends, plants that car right in the middle of the track, and that's just another prime example of what we've seen, I think, throughout the whole season from Spike in terms of his defensive drive, and probably, if I've got to be honest, one of the best defensive drivers within the league this season, and it's fantastic to see. And I mean, Cass has actually been made to look, well, quite ordinary, to be honest, because Spike's now beginning to fly up the road.
Well, meanwhile, there is a battle developing at the front of the field. 11 laps to go, and Navy and Recon, well, Recon's closing in his teammate marginally per lap, but the gap's now under 2 seconds. So watch this space between the two of them. The two Dutchmen there in the Renaults. They could make it a Renault 1-2 for the first time in TTL F1 in my recent memory. I can't remember the last time Renault managed to secure a 1-2 in TTL F1. It's been that long ago. However, Navy and Recon have a good chance of making it here tonight, and maybe in yellow and black cars, Brazil, maybe reminiscent of a Belgium 1998 scenario. Do they battle or do they hold the ground?
It's the final race of the season. Why shouldn't they battle? They're both teammates. They're both very competitive drivers. It will come down to who wants it most, I think, out on track. I'm just watching on board with Cass. Spike just making a little bit of a mistake there through turn 9. But Navy and Recon, I think I've got the authority to fight. Recon is marginally quicker than Navy. Over the course of the next lap, the next few laps or so, I can honestly see Recon right on the top of Navy.
Well, we're going to have to find out, aren't we, over the next 10 laps then. That's all that's left of this season. That's all that's left of this race. But of course, don't forget the 100% British Grand Prix as the Challenge Cup for TTL F1 League One. Make sure you do join myself and James for that one. You're in for the long haul, and so are we. We'd love you to have, we'd love you there. We'd love to see you there in the chat and getting involved too. Meanwhile, then, Cass is now 6 tenths behind, just about 7 tenths now, if you're going to round it up in towards turn 5 and 6 here. Oh, sorry, turn 4 and 5. I keep getting those two mixed up. Meanwhile, the two Renaults are still closing in on each other, with Recon reeling in Navy, sector after sector.
Carlsberg reeling in Chubbs, I think, as well. 1.3 seconds. I think that gap was about 1.6 last time around. So Carlsberg possibly beginning to charge at Chubbs, because I'm not getting myself too excited or getting myself forward here, but we could have 3 battles succinct to each other. First and second, third and fourth, and fifth and sixth. Be a thrilling finale.
It will be a thrilling finale, and you know what, James? We'll miss all of it with my camera skills, so we'll have to find out how that all goes down. 9 laps to go here in this race. Navy leading Recon now by 1.3 seconds. That gap is really being scythed down by the current champion, soon-to-be replaced champion, as they now make their way now down towards turn 4. This is Recon's chance to put himself in some great form for next season, and I don't think he's going to say you don't have to ask him twice in that scenario.
Yeah, remember though, of course, it is going to be a new game cycle that we're going to be on. We're not going to be repeating the season once again on F1 2019. F1 2020 is the way to go for TTML going forward, and it's at TTML_F1 on Twitter if you do want to do that. But it's 1.1 seconds. Navy, I think, has actually turned his ERS down, and he's actually running with very low fuel. That's why the gap's closing.
Well, obviously trying to save some fuel for the end of the race, and battling along with his teammate is not going to help his fuel consumption whatsoever. Carlsberg now 7 tenths behind Chubbs here as he makes his way now up the hill. And I said Chubbs here, he's got a chance for podium, but if the pattern persists, you've got Russia P8, USA P6, Brazil P4. Well, he's got P3 right now as Chubbs, but he's under significant pressure from the champion-elect of Carlsberg.
2 laps, I mean, Carlsberg has caught nearly a second on the back of Chubbs. He's really beginning to fly into contention. I'm not sure, actually, whether he's not using his DRS or he has a DRS failure is another thing. I think it might be the former rather than the latter of him not using the DRS. But even without it, I mean, he's well on the back of Chubbs. He's looking a lot quicker. We've got Recon now beginning to battle with Navy. The Cass and Spike battle has dropped off to 1.5 seconds. But this is it. We could see champion-elect and former champion possibly battle it out with drivers around them.
Absolutely. Navy, though, leading this race now by only 7 tenths of a second. It is so close between the two of them. We've got to watch out as well for Chubbs and Carlsberg, because that gap is even closer as they make their way through turn 12. The two Renaults will cross the line to start lap 30. It is 7 laps to go here in Brazil, and Navy's just not quite close enough yet. But Carlsberg, by turn 1, could be very close indeed, especially heading down towards turn 4. You can see there that Toro Rosso has just gone purple through sector 3 there. He's really giving it everything he's got at the moment. The two Renaults not close enough for a battle down towards turn 4. Carlsberg having to get turn 3 absolutely spot on here. Chubbs here, you can see, defending the very inside line to try and break the slipstream. It's worked for now, but Carlsberg is now breathing down his neck.
Really breathing down his neck, and honestly the hairs on the back of Chubbs' neck will probably be standing up at this point, because he can feel the ever-present threat of our champion-elect in Carlsberg. Again, he's done a last to third challenge, I'm going to be honest, because he will probably get third if he tries to pass Chubbs. But honestly, I think this could be a fantastic battle. Chubbs, the newcomer in terms of the guys out on the track, he's only been here, this is only a third race, I think, this season. He's doing a fantastic job. Carlsberg, champion-elect, going to come under sustained pressure. Here's Recon as well on Navy for the lead of the race, and I think you know where this one's going to be going. I think Navy might just let him through. Recon is through, and he's into the lead of the race. Very easy, as you like.
Yeah, Recon now takes the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix with 6 laps to go. Meanwhile, then, Chubbs has got a great deal of pressure now. He defends the inside line with Carlsberg ready to pounce then. In towards turn 1 they go. Now through turn 2 and then through turn 3. Through that centre S section, that long right left-hander of turn 3. As you can see there, Chubbs again defending the inside line, then moving back to the racing line. He is allowed to do that. That is within the regulation. You can make one move to defend and then one move back to the racing line. But look at this exit that Carlsberg's got here up the outside now as we make our way through turn 6 now and then through turn 7. Carlsberg right on the outside, but nowhere to go for him after that one. Has to back out of that. That's good defending from Chubbs.
Yeah, beautiful camera angle, actually. We saw the off-camber of the corner, and I think Carlsberg really didn't want to risk it off-camber of the corner. It was always going to fling to the left-hand side with it being a right-handed corner, and I think he did the smart thing, staying behind Chubbs, but again, he hasn't been using up his DRS. I'm not sure whether it's a failure or whether he's just feeling the need not to use it.
We're about to find out then through that treble left-hander. You can see Carlsberg's got a great exit out of turn 12 in the slipstream. He will go to the left-hand side. There's not much space there, but Carlsberg doesn't care. Up the inside he goes, in towards turn 1, and Carlsberg now takes away third place from Chubbs there, who's now down to fourth as they make their way now through turn 3. Is there a chance for Chubbs maybe to have a go back down the back straight with the DRS wide open? You got the Toro Rosso there defending to the inside. You got Chubbs now trying to make his way through round the outside in towards turn 4,
beautiful.
And he simply takes that position back then. Not done yet through turn 5. It is now up towards turn 6. Great move from Chubbs there. He simply did not throw in the towel against the champion-elect, and he holds on to third.
Can I be honest in my opinion there? I think he's just made to look, our champion-elect made to look like a pure mug, to be honest. He's done a fantastic move around the outside on Carlsberg, our champion-elect. And my God, if Chubbs was here, start of the season, he could have had a fantastic season. They're both on very similar tyres. Carlsberg obviously not having the best race as he would have wanted, but come on, you have to applaud that. Chubbs up to third.
Well, he's got a lot on his plate still to go then, because Carlsberg will be learning lap after lap how to attack Chubbs and how he will defend. Look at this now. He'll have to go to the outside towards turn 1 to try and turn in there. He gets the move done again this time around, but Chubbs, we've seen this before, haven't we? Just a lap ago, just around 4.5 kilometres ago. Oh, he lost the back end there, did Chubbs, going through turn 3. The back end did not want to play along, and you can see there Carlsberg getting into the distance. That's not what Chubbs wanted. He did not want to lose DRS range behind Carlsberg. That could be a deciding move there. That little bit of oversteer may have decided that third place for Carlsberg.
Yeah, that could be the deciding factor. I'm going to have a quick look at the penalties that the guys have picked up. Carlsberg has actually only picked up 1 penalty, and he hasn't picked up any warnings for a while. Captain Chubbs has picked up 3 penalties, so even without without Carlsberg going up to third, I think Chubbs would have been on the back end anyways. All of that batting has let Spike get 5.5 seconds behind Chubbs. Could he catch before the end of the race? It remains to be seen. Navy and Recon battling out for the lead of the race. I'd love to see a battle between these two, but I know it's not going to happen. We've got 3 laps to go. Put on a show.
Well, 3 laps to go. They might have heard you there, because now heading through the centre S as they now make their way onto the back straight. You can see there Recon taking the centre S just superbly well, and that allows him to get the run he needs down towards turn 4 to stay out of DRS attack range from Navy. So it's really good driving from the former champion there. With 3 laps to go under the current champion phrase, he'll be looking to go into TTML with a renewed sense of form as well. He'll want to end off this season. He'll want to end off TTL F1 League 1 in some style, and my goodness, has he done that today so far.
Yeah, honestly, it was quite a bit of a disaster for him. Remember back in Russia where the championship was pretty much decided, and obviously it was crowned in America. If that race didn't go how it was, then we could have seen a different result. But Recon is coming back to his best here. Navy equally, I think, has driven his best race of the season for sure. Just making a slight mistake up the hill, but doing a fantastic job. I'd love to see a battle. There's 2 laps to go, guys. I beg, I want to see a battle between the 2 Renaults for the win.
Well, 2 laps to go. Lap 35 here of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Chubbs is still on the back of Carlsberg. He's not let the champion-elect get out of DRS Ranger as we make our way onwards now towards turn 1. You can see there Carlsberg just about staying ahead. The gap between Chubbs and Spike is now down to 4.2, so Spike is not closing in quick enough, but penalties could decide positions after this checkered flag. Recon is now out of DRS range from Navy. 1.2 seconds is now the gap, and Recon can just breathe a sigh of relief. I couldn't get my words out then. Don't know what I was trying to say, but anyway, Chubbs there now just over half a second behind Carlsberg as they make their way now up the hill towards turn 7 and 8. As Carlsberg still holding on to that third place, and even with Chubbs' penalties there, he can be proud to put on a show against the champion-elect Recon, making his way into the final braking zone, the final traction zone of the lap. And at any point now, he'll start the final lap of this race and of this championship.
Yes, Spike actually has only got one penalty as his cast, so it could be that Spike actually jumps up to 4th, and Chubbs' your prediction of him being 4th and his perfect record from 8th to 6th to 4th might be on the rocks.
Oh, that's not what you want to hear, really, is it? A perfect record being on the rocks.
The bearer of good news, I think I am.
The bearer of good news, that's a new one. Well, Recon here is making his way in towards turns 4 and 5, running a little bit wide on the extra 4, but I don't think I'll mind too much about that one. Chubbs, meanwhile, Kalsper runs a little bit wide at turn 3, but I don't think there's any way Chubbs can catch him, at least not down this back straight, in towards turn 4. But meanwhile, Recon here, well, he's going to end tonight with no championship in his hands. He's going to end up the runner-up of this season, and the championship he'll have to hand over to Kalsper to lead in towards next season. But he's ended this one on a high, that's for sure, and Recon's showing us here what he's made of at the last race of the championship. He makes his way now through that treble left-hander, and Recon here will take another win in this season, and he weaves towards that start-finish line to win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Recon wins the last race of the season. Or does he? Because Navy takes the win on penalties. So Recon's win is rashed from the records. Navy will actually take the win there. Kalsper, with a drag to the line, will finish in 3rd place. Chubbs finishes in 4th on track, but that might promote Spike up there, and it is Spike now up to 4th place. Cass now, can he get a position off of Chubbs there? No, he can't by 0.4 of a second. Chubbs holds on to 5th place, which is, of course, his best finish of the season. The Gort then heading towards the start-finish line. He will grab 7th place and vital points for himself and Williams there in both tables. Sean then will finish off his last race of the championship in 8th place, but he will be able to put some points on the board for himself and Haas here. And let's see how he gets on in the next iteration of the game in a new championship as he now cruises his way towards the line. I think I know what's coming from Sean here as he pulls off to the right-hand side. And a little bit of a celebrate. Well, I mean, that's not quite. It's turning left, that's for sure. But there you go. That's a left turn for Sean there. There you go. There's the donut. There's the kick at the accelerator there. There we go. So Sean will be grabbing 8th place in the race here. And it's been a season where he has enjoyed himself even more here. Of course, in that Ferrari seat, he didn't have the best time there. Came back to Haas and really found a renewed sense of confidence there. But Navy here is your race winner for the last race of the championship. And the Dutchman from pole to the win. But it's never as easy as that.
Well deserved for Navy. Recon picking up the penalty, and Navy in the end taking the win.
And it is a Renault 1-2. How many times have we got to say that this season? Pretty much never. But the last time that happened in TTL F1 was quite some time ago. So Renault will definitely be enjoying this one, and Navy even more so.
Renault as well, I think, have wrapped up 2nd in the Constructors' Championship as well, with both Mercedes not turning up either. So Renault, 162 points coming into tonight. They have now secured 2nd in the Constructors.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic result. And let us take you through now the official, unofficial results for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It is Navy who wins with Recon in 2nd. Kalsper, the champion-elect, in 3rd from 13th on the grid. Spike in 4th with Chubbs in 5th. Cass in 6th. The Gort in 7th with Sean 8th, Ghosts in 9th and Toxic rounding out that top 10. But of course, Ghosts and Toxic not scoring any points as they didn't make it to the checkered flag. Other non-finishers, Vaporon, Kelvin and Lighty, all not seeing the checkered flag in this last race of the season. And that will do it then, not only for this season, not only for the championship, but also for TTL F1 League One. That's it, the end of an era. Next season, we'll be going over to TTML _F1 if you want to follow them on Twitter. Of course, we can't go out with making a song and dance about it. That simply will not happen. So why don't we meet here same time next week for a 100% race around Silverstone to really round off what has been the end of an era. Hopefully you'll join myself and James for that one. Make sure as well you are subscribed to TTTV. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified every time the channel goes live. And I believe you can join in with James and I think it's Paco tomorrow night, is it not?
It is.
I'm getting the schedule right.
Yeah, you're getting the schedule. Yeah, you're getting the schedule right for once, which is fantastic.
For once, yeah.
TTL Yeah, TTL F1 League 2. Both championships again have been wrapped up for that. Mashiro and McLaren respectively taking the Constructors' Championship last time out in America. But it's the season finale. I've been hinted there's a prospect of rain, which Conti will definitely enjoy, as he said he wants to be the first DNF out on track tomorrow. You'll have to tune in and find out, 8 p.m.
Yeah, please make sure you do that. And of course, all that remains to say then, James, is it's been a pleasure to commentate with you this season. We've got one more time to do it at a 100% race, and all I can say to you is doing it with me, good luck. You're going to need it.
It's honestly going to be fantastic. I think I've never commentated on a 100% race before, so that's new.
That will be new.
It'll be interesting.
You'll instantly regret doing it with me. I can absolutely assure you of that one. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Make sure, don't forget, the 100% race next time out, next week at Silverstone. Make sure you do join us then. It is a separate honour. It's the last honour we can win in TTL F1 League 1, so make sure you do join us along for that one. And until next week, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've had a great time. I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.